Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. First we're going to start with Zaporozhye area. The Russians intensified the usage of Tornado-S missiles. Tornado-S missile is something like HIMARS, it's an analog of HIMARS of Western weapon. On this video we see how the Ukrainians were trying to load the train with armored vehicles, probably they were planning to move somewhere, but the Russians managed to discover this territory, and as a result of strike, up to 16 vehicles, armored vehicles, artillery systems were destroyed. And this is very important because according to information we have, this train was trying to load the vehicles but not to unload them, because if the Ukrainians were unloading the weapon, we understand that the Ukrainians were planning to redeploy their forces in direction of Orekhov. But basically we saw the process of loading the vehicles, and some sources are saying that the Ukrainians were planning to move this train with armored vehicles in direction of Nikolaev area to reinforce their forces along the Dnipro River before upcoming landing operation. So this is very interesting. Now we are moving to Zaporozhye area to the south. Today the Ukrainian sources published the video of destroyed Russian Su-35 somewhere in the fields on Zaporozhye area. As if you remember, yesterday we discussed that as a result of friendly fire, the Russians accidentally shot down its own Su-35, and according to information we have, probably 2 pilots were died as a result of that accident. When talking about Bradley Square, there are no changes on the ground, just the Russians published few videos how they will continue bombing and attacking the Ukrainian forces on the southern direction. The southern fortification of Robotyne, trying to not allow the Ukrainians to concentrate their forces before the next attempts to attack in direction of Kopany to the west of Robotyne and to the south in direction of Novoprokopovka. And probably the Russians were pretty successful with that, because we yet haven't received any updates regarding any attacks from the Ukrainian side in both those directions. Now we are moving to another area, to Kurachovo, to South Donetsk. Today the Russians also published the video of another usage of Tornado-S missile. The Russians intelligence managed to discover the Ukrainian concentration of forces somewhere in the vicinity of the settlement, and after that, as a result of Tornado-S strike, the entire polygon with training soldiers were destroyed. The number of losses is unknown, but maybe the next day we're going to receive some numbers from the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. And this video, I must say that this video is not geolocated accurately, because I followed the internet, tried to search to find this area on map, but as I understand, nobody yet managed to geolocate this strike. Now we are moving further to Bakhmut, Artyomov's direction, to this area. The Ukrainians continued their offensive operation, and the Russian sources reported that Ukrainians tried during the previous night to cross the railways and to force the Russians to step back further to the settlements like Opytne, Adradovka, Mykolaevka, Zelnopolye, Kurdyumovka. For these purposes, the Ukrainians were using armored vehicles and tanks. They would try to storm this area from the beginning, and this is a very important video, because these updates confirm that the Ukrainians during the previous attack in direction of Andreevka maybe managed to capture the settlement just for another day, but because of ruins and because of absence of any positions where the Ukrainians can hide, they were forced to step back. As we know, the Russians still control the underground facilities that located on the railways, and they have better chances to control this territory and to hold this territory. So when the Ukrainians were forced to step back, the Russians managed to restore their positions in Andreevka, to establish more traps, and to start the defense process from the beginning. The Ukrainians tried to storm this area with tanks, but all of them were discovered. There were 2 tanks involved in that operation. 2 tanks were discovered, and as a result of artillery strikes, FPV drone strikes, both tanks were destroyed. One of them was destroyed right in front of Andreevka. The second one was trying to cross canal and also was destroyed as a result of fire. Furthermore, the Russians managed to discover the Ukrainian artillery system, probably Krab, somewhere in the forest that supported the Ukrainian offensive operation, and as a result of counter-artillery duel, that artillery system Krab also was destroyed. So another bad day for the Ukrainian offensive operation in this direction. Furthermore, the Russians during the previous day managed to make few strikes in Konstantinovka with FAB. As a result of one of those strikes, the Russians destroyed the Ukrainian parking in the settlement that Ukrainian police officers and military forces were using to collect and concentrate their forces when they come on duty. So I believe that it was an epic fail from the Ukrainian military authorities to collect the light vehicles of personnel, and that was a very juicy target for the Russian air forces. As a result of that strike, a lot of armored vehicles, just light vehicles of personnel, were destroyed. Now we are moving further to Toretsk area, to Liman direction. The Russians continue bombing and attacking Tarskoye, the city that located, and this entire area has the title of Tarskoye salient, based on the title of the city and this salient comes to. And as a result of strikes, the Russians first of all established 100% control over one single support road that goes in this direction, and as a result of artillery strikes and bombings, every single equipment that enters the city is destroyed, and furthermore the Russians continue bombing and attacking the Ukrainian positions along the city. And this is a very important update because a week ago, when talking about the same city a week ago, we didn't receive nothing from this area. But during the previous 2 days, starting from 29th of September, we started receiving significant number of updates from the city. And this entire situation reminds me something like artillery preparation before another Russian attempt to storm the city and to force the Ukrainians to step back from this bank of Zherebets River to the city by the name of Zarechna. So everything reminds me the artillery preparation. Now we are moving further to the north, and today the Russian published another very interesting video from the city, from the area in the vicinity of Sinькова. I'll remind you that just a few days ago the Russians destroyed the final pontoon bridge in this area. As a result of that strike, the Ukrainians lost another bridge that they were using to support their forces, and now the Russians started bombing and attacking the concentration of Ukrainian forces in the same area. As a result of strikes, the Russians managed to discover the concentration of Ukrainian forces, the places where they were redeployed, and after that they started bombing this area with FAB 500. So we see that Russians continue artillery bombing preparation of the territory before the final push of, let's say, the greatest Russian counter-offensive operation in Kharkiv direction. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.